With me, I have my beautiful daughter, Angelina.
Hey everyone.
Uh, I have a way I could actually put her on the screen, but then I don't have access to everything else. So I had to share a beautiful picture of that way you at least have a face to who's talking.
You shared a picture of me.
Yes, I did.
Oh.
It's a beautiful one. You're with the horse.
Oh.
Yeah. I was scoping out your page and stealing your stuff, I guess. So the first thing of business for today is get your coffee, your tea. I know we made some changes here. There's going to be more coming. We're really hoping that this makes the show much better. We will still be doing crime stories, just not as often and not in the same manner. I know I'm tired of hearing my voice on those. I'm sure everybody else is too. So, uh, in Conneaut, Ohio, there's a man called Dave Jones. He has a little store called the Shirt Shack. He's actually working out of his home now. He can make you shirts, hoodies, hats, anything you want. Just give him a call at 440-812-0924 and he will accommodate you. And his pricing is very fair. We also have mugs in Jefferson. Not only is their food great, their service is great, the waitresses are all wonderful, and you definitely get more than what you pay for. They are on 18 South Chestnut Street. Just a little tip: if the roads are full, pull into I think it's AutoZone that's over there. That's what we do. We park there and walk. It's well worth it. So other than that, Angelina, how are you doing today, my dear?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Are we ready to get to some real talk and see what's going on here with Jada and Will Smith?
Absolutely.
Should we start with the slap?
Where else would you start with this drama, right?
Well, I mean, I've been asked, are you going to talk about it? Well, absolutely, especially when you dig a little further and you know there's
Mm-hmm.
more to that slap than what happened that day.
Absolutely, but nobody talks about all the details because they just want the drama part.
Right. Now, personally, I would be honored if somebody got up on stage and said something smart about me to have my husband reach around and slap him. I mean, I really
Yeah.
would, be honest.
I
However,
mean,
do you know that particular day she realized, I guess, oh, he does love me. So now she wants to put more effort into their marriage.
yeah, they've kind of had a, could you call it a marriage? They've kind of had a mess, sounds like pretty early on. But did
Yes.
you see that in one of her interviews? She said, I'm really shocked because, mind you, I'm not there about the slap. But I'm like, yes, yes, you were
She
there.
was in the
You,
audience. Did she forget?
I don't know.
I mean,
I
and I'm
don't
not trying to be smart because, she does really have that disease that, was it aplasia or something with her hair?
alopecia.
Alopecia, which, quite frankly, no matter what she writes or how we feel right now, she's a beautiful woman. And she's even beautiful without the hair. So if I were her, I wouldn't even stress that part.
Well, and comedians make fun of people for a living. Like that's what they all do. They always have. I don't know why we're so shocked. And it's not like he really talked crap. He just called her G.I. Jane. Like, G.I. Jane's not a bad person to be compared to call me G.I. Jane. I'll kick your butt. I'm good with
There you
like
go. Yeah, especially if you can get a few dollars out of it. But now, poor Will, what's he got? Like a 5 years or something like that, and he can't attend another Grammy? Or is he
I
permanently
don't
banned?
know
I
what his
forgot.
punishment was. Well, the funny thing is, do you know he was already mad at Chris Rock because he asked Jada out on a date
Yes.
because he thought they were divorced.
Which
So
I don't get. Now, we all know what we see on the screen is not what they live at home. If we don't know that, then we need to do some serious thinking ourselves.
yeah,
But could you imagine living in the same house with somebody for 7 years and not having any marital contact at all?
no,
So, but on the same hand, we're not seeing all of this. We think they're still together. We think they're a beautiful couple. Where did Chris get the idea she was divorced?
Well, because when she was doing her entanglement with that August, I don't know if it's Alcina, whatever. I'm not up to date on the music scene here, but you figure their affair started in like 2015. So when she went on her show, that Red Table Talk, and admitted to cheating and bringing Will there. Well, she didn't really bring Will there. Will volunteered to go sit there, but that's kind of partly how she got the bad view, is because everyone thought she made Will go sit at that table while she was basically talking about, her affair with someone else. But really, she said she was going to go do it and clear the air, and he just showed up and did it on his own. But after that, of course, people were like, "Oh yeah, they're probably getting a divorce."
Yeah, I mean, he seems to really be hanging in there. Is a matter of money. I mean, Will's worth a lot. Be honest. He's been at this since he was what, 15, 16.
Yeah.
Between the TV shows, the movies, the recordings, all that. That man has money.
But so does Jada, because she does movies and stuff
Yes,
still.
but my thoughts are: does she have as much as him, and is he afraid that she's going to take a large sum of his?
I don't think I don't know that it's about money. I think it's about publicity. I think whenever she's starting to not hear her name enough, or her show ratings are sliding, she all of a sudden wants to come up with something new. Because I don't think she had enough of a following to start her own show in the first place. So I think it was already probably like this, we'll give you a shot and see where it goes.
Right.
And enough people didn't care, because you figure it's her mom and her daughter or something. So it's like three generations. But here's the thing, nobody really cared for Willow because she's a little eccentric, and it's just they're unrelatable people. Nobody knows her mom. People
Right.
barely know her. They know her as Will's wife. Let's be honest. We all know Jada as Will's wife.
Right. I
She's
mean,
been in
I've
movies.
seen her in plenty of movies before. It never really clicked that she was even his wife.
It's just I feel like whenever ratings were starting to drop, she does something, but it always backfires. But you know what they say, no publicity is bad publicity.
That is true. So somehow or another, you want to stay in that limelight.
Hmm.
I, I don't know. I just personally, I can be married to an actor. I've thought about that once. They're
Hmm.
so good at acting, you would never know their true feelings at home anyway. You'd always be questioning it. Are they being serious? Is this part of that personality that they portray out in the streets, or how does this work?
And I feel like, marriages never last, because partly because if you're an actor or an actress, you're gone all the time. And you're traveling and you're busy. So if you're trying to have a family and a home life, you're not going to connect with your wife. You're going to connect with whoever, or your husband. You're going to connect with whoever you're forced to be with for, they're probably working 15 hours a day plus off and on some days
Yeah, I was
with
gonna say
these
some are
movies.
even longer than that.
Yeah. So it's like, of course, they're going to bond with other people, and then you're not seeing or talking to your spouse, but in spurts. That's just a tough life to try to tie down.
And then she brings Tupac into this.
Did she bring Tupac into this, or did the media bring Tupac into
No,
this?
she did because she talks about how he proposed. Um,
Kind of.
but it was weird because she's saying there was no romantic chemistry between them, and they weren't even talking at the time of his death. But she feels like he was just her true love, if that makes any sense.
See, that's not what I gathered. She doesn't feel like She feels like they had a true friendship, and she was always adamant that it was not romantic. And she even said, like, his proposal. So the problem is, her interviews get cut because nobody likes her. So what she said with that whole soulmate thing, that's not actually what she said. Like, they asked her, and what she said is there's all kinds of definitions, and she said we had no romantic chemistry at all. And she said, if anything, there's different kinds of soulmates. And if there's such a thing as past lives, I feel like we traveled a few together, but there was no romantic stuff involved. And even Tupac said when he proposed, he was just looking for something to hang on to while he was in prison. Because she said she was surprised that he proposed because it was just in a letter back and forth. It's not like it was in person.
Right.
He just
Right.
sent a random thing like we should get married, and she was. And then when they talked it out, they both realized he was just looking for something. Even he said it wouldn't have worked, and her first question was, "If I married you, would you want conjugal visits?" And he said, "Yeah." And
Of
she was
course,
like,
most
"Oh,
of the
then
time.
definitely not, because you're my friend." So it's like, wait, why would you consider? You would have considered a friend marriage? I get why their kids are so weird.
Well, all the kids are angry. Even Will's son from another marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my understanding that he remains a big part of this family and everything. And then she
Mhm.
she decides to write her memoirs, which is good. I mean, honestly, we all should do that, but maybe throw it in the fire after you're done. Get your feelings out, express yourself, and then burn them, because right now what she's doing is unfair to her family. They had no idea what was coming. They were like smacked in the face with all this information, and
But
then
she said she told them all what she went to each person she wrote about, told each person what she wrote about them, so that way they knew and got permission to tell the story before she wrote it. And then and Will's response to reading it was just, if I had read this book 30 years ago, I would have hugged you more. Like he said that it helped him see her better, is what he says in the public eye.
right,
But it also makes you wonder, like, is there more going on with Will? But because he's kind of been this lovable guy from the beginning, this rapper that doesn't curse, this funny low income child that goes to live with his rich uncle, and it's just, so did we take all that and then now Will can do no wrong? Because there was rumors about him and Margot Robbie years ago, but they all said no, it didn't happen, and we didn't question it. We were like, they said, Will said he didn't do it. He didn't do it. Whereas Jada's like, me and Tupac were just friends, and we're all like,
so then let's talk about her drug dealings. Are you aware of that?
oh no,
Yes, as a teenager, she sold drugs because she wanted stability.
as a teen, I got you.
Hmm. I mean, I get
Yeah,
as teenagers, we don't always think or whatever, but as a grown adult, to look back and say, I did this because I wanted stability, what are you teaching the kids out here?
right.
So now what?
Maybe
Jada
why she
Smith can do it, and look where she landed.
yeah, yeah. They're definitely, I mean, she came from a rough background, I guess, like a rough life. But at some point, you got to let that go and move forward, which I get is easier said than done when you're somebody who didn't come from that, right?
Right. Yeah, she had an
But
abusive father. Her mother was addicted to drugs.
she's still really close to her mother. So it's like you had to have healed some
You would
or a
think.
lot to be able to have that relationship with your mom. So much so that you're making her rich by putting her at a table with you. Not rich, okay, but you're making her. You gave her a spot on your show.
Right. So I mean, I'm hoping that means she's clean today. Drugs are definitely a bad route to go. There are, just so anybody listening knows, there are ways to get yourself clean and be productive in this world.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I know plenty of people who have done it, and I can tell you one thing: not a single one of them regret leaving that life behind.
yeah. Some people actually go to prison and then they're glad. I even like watching this one stupid show, Love After Lockup. And actually, on this last episode, the one guy said, I'm glad I went to prison because this and this and this came of it. And now this is who I want to be. So,
Yeah,
Sometimes
Well,
prison in itself is enough to give you that eye opener.
and the problem is a lot of people aren't allowed to hit rock bottom. Their families protect them or save them, or they can come and rob your whole house and steal everything from you, their grandma, their mom, their uncle, whatever. And nobody reports, oh, they're just on drugs. You know, it's
Right.
not their fault. And it's like, if you don't hold them accountable, it's not going to happen for them. They're not going to turn their life around.
Right.
I actually asked one of my friends what what was it that made her decide like enough is enough, because it wasn't kids. She had a kid. She had two kids before and she said, I was sleeping in the woods. It was cold. It was wet. I just called my mom to talk to my kids, and neither one wanted to talk to me. And that was her viewpoint. Like it wasn't in just the homelessness. It wasn't just the drugs. It wasn't just a kid. It was them all allowing her to hit rock bottom and say, I'm not gonna just satisfy your needs anymore. I'm not gonna appease you. I'm not gonna overlook it. I'm not gonna pretend like this isn't you. That's it. We don't want
You know,
anything to
because
do with you while you're living this life.
nowadays it's it's your kid, it's your mother, it's your father. You still have to have that respect. You still have to help, and people don't understand that helping them is not really helping them. I mean, it would break my heart to see one of my kids on the street.
Well, a
But
lot of people say, well, it's scary because I don't want my kid to die, right? Of course I don't want your
yeah,
kid to
I don't want that phone call, or I don't want the cops knocking on my door with the bad news. You know.
die. Right. But whether they're shooting up in your home or they're shooting up on the street, the risk is there.
Right. And even
So,
Jada writes, she says these are her exact words, that she was robbed while dealing. During one of them, she recounts having a gun barrel pressed against her forehead in terror. She fell back in the recliner that she usually posted in, and she peed her pants. She was so scared.
mm,
So, I mean, I don't know if that's what finally brought it to an end. I don't know if it even really did bring it to an end. But I mean, her life definitely wasn't peaches and cream. But do you throw your family under the bus as a result?
right.
Uh,
And I guess kids and stuff didn't know this about her either. Like, because why would you? You don't want your kids to use
right.
your past as an excuse to make future
Right. You can
mistakes.
sit there and say, hey,
So,
kids, mom used to deal drugs.
right, right. If my kids heard I was in a fight one time in third grade, they're like, now we get to fight everybody.
Right, right. So she was a big participant in the Rodney King riots. And that took place while they were big and in the spotlight out here. So
She was trying to do um, she was trying to go against the Oscars because she was saying that, how the Oscars were promoting just white.
right,
And here, Chris Rock was the host, and she's telling everybody to boycott because it's mostly um, white people that were being acknowledged. And Chris Rock's kind of like, well, hey, it's kind of a big deal and a big job for me, and he put her in a really weird spot, which she did end up apologizing for because she said she didn't think about how that would affect him.
right.
So it's like he's taken jabs at her before, and him and Will didn't get along before all this. So there was a lot to there was a lot to unpack for them already, and I feel like that really didn't have anything to do with defending Jada's honor as much as even
Anger.
she wants to make it seem and feel. I think it had more to do with Will just had enough of Chris Rock shit, and he was just done.
And that I totally get.
I do too. You can only have your buttons pushed for so long. I mean, am I saying it was right to walk up and slap somebody on? I mean, but it is what it is. It's weird to me that a man slapped another man.
I know. I mean, wouldn't you normally just slug them one, or?
You would think, but see,
I
Will
mean, I'm
Smith is such
female,
a
and that's what
gentle
I would do.
man.
That fist would be coming out, not an open hand.
Right. He's so gentle that he just chose to slap instead. But and you know, he still gives Jada a lot of credit though, like good credit. Whenever the media tries to bring her down and say bad stuff, he's always there kind of backing her up, which when you read more about it, you kind of understand because the media is constantly turning stuff around, like the whole saying Tupac was her soulmate thing, where I explained she literally said friend, and that they never had a romantic relationship.
But
There's no.
honestly, I did read that she said Tupac was her forever love.
Mm.
So I don't know. And unfortunately, I can't remember exactly where I read it to bring it up. And I don't know what's the word I want. More or less, any other content that came with it.
Right.
You know what word I'm looking for, and I'm sure everybody else does. I
Platonic.
just don't have it.
And
So
she
far,
said they were platonic.
so far, I'm not getting any messages that I can't be heard. I've been asked if we're on the air. Let's see. Okay, they're not hearing us real well. They're hearing us, but not real well.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it says can hear Nina, but not real good with you. Okay, so you're fine. I'm the one with issues, of course.
That's because I have the louder mouth.
See, that is true.
I know. I don't think you're allowed to say that though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I forgive you.
All right, so I'm not real sure how to mess with this sound. I'll get closer to the mic. I hope that makes it
There you
easier to be
go.
heard.
Well, you're definitely louder on my end though.
Okay, so we'll leave it at that. I have the mic up on the what you call it as loud as I can. I don't know if I can improve it on the computer itself or not. So I'll just sit here and look like I'm eating the microphone. How's that sound?
I like it.
All right.
The men
So
in the audience can see, they'll appreciate it.
so now let's go back to Jada Smith here. Did she write this book to hurt her family? Did she write it because she really felt she needed to get it out?
My guess is that's probably money driven for one, because her and Will are in the limelight right now. Everybody's kind of, jumping on her little bandwagon, even though it's for not liking her. So now's the perfect time to do what you can to make money off of
I mean, like she has a section where she's more or less making fun of him because he refused to stay the night at her house because he felt it was haunted.
it.
It is funny. I mean, I was trying not to laugh, but of course you encouraged me too much. But is that really something that people need to know? Maybe he was younger. Maybe he really believed in this kind of stuff.
Well, there's a lot of people who believe that. I don't think that's an embarrassing thing. Like, to me, if I think your house is haunted, I'm not staying there.
Exactly.
I don't care how. But I mean, he wrote the. Do you remember when we? Oh, gosh, it was before my time, but it was basically the Freddy Krueger one, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes, that was enough to creep anybody out. I don't even like scaries, but as a child, when everybody else is watching them, you sit and watch it with them. I swear I had nightmares forever.
Right. Well, he's. I don't think he embarrasses as easy as the public embarrasses for him, if that makes sense.
I get it. Just because he's got that personality and he rolls with it. But again, when he's not in the public eye, God only knows how he's feeling when he's at home.
Right.
So then we have Jada saying how she bought her own ring.
Oh,
Yes.
but you probably have a joint bank account. Can we just say that? Like,
Well, at that point, I'm not sure that they did, honestly.
that's true, but I can't imagine Will said, "Go buy your own ring."
Well, the way I'm reading it, she opted to. But
Be-
she says,
I imagine he's
buy
got a
my
very.
own ring. I took some measure of control and sent the message to myself. All right, get with the program. So,
Well, and that's because she didn't even want to marry Will. Her mother wanted her to marry Will because she was pregnant.
yeah, that's true. She said you're not bringing a child in this world, not being married.
But
Uh,
I'm sorry, I don't care what my mother says about my adult life. Like, I can't. using that as an excuse, to me, that's kind of a jab at Will too, because it's like saying, I didn't really want to marry you, but my mommy made me.
Right, right. And I mean, let's face it, people have been having babies and not getting married since the beginning of time. I mean, were they
Yes.
frowned upon? Absolutely, but so what?
Right. Right. It's they're way past age, and in their line of work, a lot of people have babies out of wedlock. It's not like they would have been some, weird mystery or something,
Right, right.
right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just, it is what it is. But to put out there and say, I didn't want to marry him, but my mom kind of made me. But then, I thought, well, why not? Because he is nice and he is good. So it's like you doubted it a little bit, which who doesn't at first, because it's a lifelong commitment.
Well, it
And then
should
you
be, but
thought
yeah,
about it and you decided. But now you're trying to pin it on your mom because there's all this drama. And I don't know. I think the way she worded it is just kind of shady, because it sounds to us that your mommy made you do it.
right, absolutely. And like you said, once you're grown, you're grown. It's not like she was 16 and mom said, "Hey."
Right.
So then she brings up how she would go on motorcycle rides with Tom Cruise. They did a movie together and realized they showed a mutual interest in motorcycle riding and things like that. So they spent some time together. So I have to, oh, and of course, she loves a smile. I think everybody loves a smile. So.
When
So
was this?
then you have to wonder, why is he being brought into this just because they rode on a motorcycle together?
When was that?
Oh, let's go back.
I didn't even know about that one.
They did the movie Collateral. So I'm not even sure when that movie came out. So you know what? We can find out. Let's find out.
You move away from them not too much. So was it after they were married?
I'm assuming.
So, so what? They're just bringing up that she went for a ride.
This is part of her book.
Did you read her book, or are you just stealing stuff out of it?
I'm stealing stuff because I really don't want to give her the pleasures of reading her book.
So I did the same thing. I thought about it, and I was like, maybe I should read it. And then I was kind of like, nah, I don't like her enough to give her my $30.
Right. So Collateral came out in August 6th of 2004.
Okay, so they were married because
Yeah.
they were married in '97.
Right. Okay. And then of course she cries because her son wants to move out. So what was he, 15 or 16, and decided he wanted to be emancipated?
Yeah, I remember all that.
Yeah. Was it just a kid thing, or was there something going on that made him feel like he really needed to leave?
Well, I feel like that's the age where they think they're grown and they want to do what they want to do. And if you figure you're that age, you think you're grown and you have money, of course you want to emancipate. Of course you want to live in your own house and do your own stuff. Like, I just feel like it probably happens in other famous households, but you don't hear about it because a lot of them own five houses. So if your kids live in one of those five houses and you're staying at the other houses, nobody's going to talk about it.
Right. Right. I mean, he tells her, that it's nothing personal. It's just something that he felt he needed to do. He said he needs something different.
And it could be because their parents' weird relationship or not. What they say now, they're separated since 2016.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously stuff had to be starting before then
Right. I
for them
mean, you
to
don't
get to
just
it.
automatically move to a room all of your own.
Yeah, yeah. But that her little entanglement, as she likes to refer to it as, we're just
It's
going to
so
say
worried because
affair.
I'm looking at that right now.
Her affair with August was in 2015. It started in 2015, and then they separated in 2016. So even though she claims he knew about it, and August claims that Will knew about it, but Will's like, No, I
No, I
didn't.
didn't.
And then later on, Jade was like, no, he didn't.
It's like she wants to tell her truth, but she doesn't tell the truth.
Right.
So let's get this all figured out.
I mean, we could try, right? Because now we're entangled in her mess. Right? While she's entangled with a rapper.
Yes, and
Or,
you have to
and I
keep
guess,
in mind. I'm sorry, with the way all this is going, I can't be like on the screen like I usually am, which I mean it's kind of fine with me, but see, I lost my train of thought. But
you're sad that nobody can see your pretty face.
it's old. I'm just an old lady with nothing better to do.
That's
So
what you know that. So that affair with August, you know that was because she was supporting her children at a music festival thing. So it's like you go to something for your kids,
and have an
and
affair.
yeah, I'm like, not not that there's any time that's classy, right, for
True,
an
true
affair,
enough.
but it's like you did it while you're supposed to be supporting your kids. You're out flirting and doing whatever. Because I mean, obviously you had to flirt, right? Because he didn't just walk up to you and be like,
Hey, let's go to bed together.
yeah, yeah. Obviously there was some flirting and some alluding to the fact that I would mess around with you.
Now, if you
So
ask men, they will tell you, "Oh, it just happens."
I
So, I mean, maybe they know something more than we do. I don't know, but
just
like you
have a
said,
magic
she has
potion.
an affair in 2015, and they separate in 2016. They stay in the same home. But here's my thing: they're always her and Will were always out in the spotlight together. You know, anything that was publicized. What do? Get
Mhm.
out of one man's bed, take a shower, go home, and hold your husband's hand?
Well, I mean, basically, right? They're living in separate places and meeting up at events to look cool. She brought him that August on her show in 2018, and she introduced him as a dear family friend
Oh Lord!
as they talked about stuff. And it's like, so by then, they would have been in a 3-year relationship.
Right?
If they met in 2015, 2018, I mean, you mean to tell me they weren't talking that whole time?
Nah.
And then in 2019, when he makes the song that, everybody's like, oh, it's not actually about her. But in the video, he's texting someone named Corin with a heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jada's middle name. And that's not a common name. And that's not a name that flows well in a song or that you're
Right.
just going to randomly pick. Like you knew what you were doing. And then he literally puts a gif of Jada. So, and it says, you got me feeling like it was an act and you're just an actress. Putting on a show because you don't want the world to know that you lost the man who loved you all along. Baby, couldn't we just let this go? So,
Wow.
yeah, that to me, that seems like, how are you going to deny that when he used your middle name, he used a picture, a little thing of you, and then after it comes out and everybody catches on, all of a sudden you're going to deny that it's about Jada.
Right. Right.
Why would you use her middle name?
Well, because now we all know it's about Jada.
Right. But according to him, it's just not. It's all just a coincidence. Like, you did everything short of putting her phone number up there.
I really admire him for putting up with all of this and handling things the way he has. Uh, Personally, I would file for divorce and ran. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird that they have this. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to put it into words, but it's weird that they have this thing where they just feel like, no, we can't get a divorce. We're just not going to. But it's like, she's cheated on you for a lot of years. And then you guys haven't been living together for a lot of years. And then there's just all this drama. But they're like, we're going to find our way back. Or he'll make a joke or something. And she'll be like, well, see, that's why I can't leave him.
right now she does say that they have tried therapy.
Right.
So I
Well,
mean,
and now that her book's dropped and all this drama's happened, now they're
right.
like, oh yeah, we're gonna find our way back to living together now.
She says she was shocked that he even invited her to the Oscars that day, which is weird because, like I said, out in public you always see him.
Right.
But these are her words. It's not until Will yells from his seat back up at Chris to keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth and then repeats it that I perceive the gravity of the situation, she explains in the memoir. She says she can't tell his story of why Smith did it, but that it had everything to do with Will's own personal battles, which unfolded on a world stage. And then she goes on to say that it gave them a different type of closeness.
Yeah.
So, what's going on with all these women out here? Are men not smacking people enough to,
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, so supposedly Chris and Will had issues like way before Chris and Will knew Jada, but she never says what those issues were
yeah,
or
because
what they
she's
were
saying that
about.
she can't tell their story.
Right. But it's like, and and then of course when Chris thought they were getting divorced, you go after Will's woman, and there's like a million women on the planet. Okay, obviously there's way more than that, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of available women, and Chris could get any woman he wants.
Right.
So I feel like the only reason he even asked her was just to piss off Will. I think he was thinking if I could get on a date with her, let's be honest, he was probably like if I could smash his wife, that's like the ultimate. Like you can't do worse than that unless Will went to Chris's mom. Like I feel like it was meant. Chris did that as a jab at Will only because Jada's pretty-ish,
I think
but
she's
she's
pretty.
not.
Like I said, even though her hair's fallen out and everything, she still looks beautiful.
She's all right.
Yeah,
I'm not into bald women, but then
I'm not
again,
into
I'm
women at
not really
all,
into
but
women, so maybe I'm a bad judge. But it's just I shouldn't say that though, because some women are very beautiful, but just if you have an ugly personality, you look ugly to me.
I get it.
So it's like I used to think she was beautiful, and when she shaved her head, it didn't really matter. But then as her personality came out, it's just like, nah, because I don't feel like she did it for a reason other than attention. I know she says she has alopecia, but what were you doing before and always? And there's other models and actresses that shave their head for whatever reasons. I don't, obviously they don't have to tell us why. Maybe they love it. Maybe they have alopecia. Maybe they just, whatever.
Right.
They have the most beautiful face to do it. Do you need a beautiful face to shave your head? No, it's your hair. Do what you want. But don't do something that's so drastic and so big to call attention to yourself when you're already being looked at in a bad light. Because obviously they're going to go after the one thing that makes you different and poke
Absolutely.
fun of it. So you're going to need to have a backbone about it.
Yes. And, did she write this book in hopes of ending this family altogether? Do you think that's possible?
Maybe. I think she just wants attention. I feel like she's just weird, and I feel like that's why her kids are weird. And I feel like she just wants attention, and she doesn't care if it's good, bad, or indifferent. I think she's one of those people that are uncomfortable in calmness.
Okay, so
Some people just don't. She said she sold drugs for stability. Like you said,
financial
that's like the
stability,
craziest you've heard, right?
right.
Because that's not a stable thing to do.
Right. I mean, do it today,
I
be in
mean,
jail tomorrow. That's really stable.
all right. So her version of stability is horribly skewed already. And it's like she does these drastic things all the time, just whenever things seem calm or quiet. And I think when
Mm.
she started to get the attention from her affair, that she was like, oh, I mean, it was probably attention about Tupac first, and then attention from the affair, and then attention for shaving her head, and then attention for hurting Will. I think she just likes attention.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. She definitely likes drama. I mean, I feel like everything about her is drama.
Yeah,
If my husband and I were that miserable, just because he slapped somebody for me doesn't put me closer to him.
right,
And I keep
right.
I keep looking at that response, and I'm thinking, what the heck is wrong with her?
Well, and she does take some a little bit of credit about like the whole thing because it says because Chris looked at her and said I meant no harm, in which Jada was like, no problem. But of course now Will's pissed mad because he sees Chris talking to Jada, and it's just which I get. He wanted to apologize straight to the source and stuff, but and then Jada's just like, I think it just made me look like the bad guy in the limelight there, but in my honest opinion, uh, is that it had more to do with the false narrative that I helped to create on the red table. So
Right.
she does admit that her going to on her show, and she said it helped the public see her as the adulterous wife. And it's like, it didn't help us; it made us. Like you
Why
had
would you want to
created
be an
something for the
adulterous
someone,
wife?
huh?
Why would you want to be an adulterous wife?
Well, she didn't want to. She's saying that by taking it onto the show, she helped us see her as that, like it was
Oh,
an accident.
I got you.
Like, you went on and said that you had an affair, and
That's
then
not
you're
an accident.
yeah, yeah, and you're gonna say that we did it
How many people say, oops?
a lot,
Well, I don't.
and then she's basically like, oh, and I had the power to make him walk up on that stage and slap somebody just because I rolled my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, she definitely thinks she's all that in a bag of chips, as they say. Or I'm sure, I don't know, maybe the saying's a little different nowadays, but.
Right. And her reasoning for not getting a divorce. We love our family and we love each other. It's just a life partnership.
Okay, so
Now, 10 years from now, who knows? She says. And it's like, who says that?
right. Now let's go back to the kids, and they're being weird. Honestly, how many kids that are in a family like theirs, they're both big, how many of them actually get to go out and experience life? They're really shut up in that house and maybe even their yard for the majority of their lives, and they have nothing to do. They don't know what the world's like.
They don't know what the real world's like. They know what their world's like.
Right, absolutely. That's exactly where I was going with that. So, I mean, is that what makes them the way they are?
Oh, absolutely. They're, I feel like they were probably the kids that were never told no or shaped or molded because when she talks about parenting, about her and Will's parenting, it was very much like free spirited, let them do what they want to do, let them be who they want to be from a very young age. And which, okay, but I feel like they were also given zero guidelines on what a typical person is so they could build off of that. Like, obviously, we teach our kids things unintentionally just by being regular people, right? We cook dinner,
Correct.
we sit down at the table, we eat dinner, we dress this way because these are the pants and shirts they sell at Target.
I go to Walmart. I'm not fortunate enough to have a Target, so it's Walmart for me.
Sorry, but it's just when you're rich, it's sometimes clothes are probably brought right to you. A designer shows up and you're just
Pick it right off the rack. Oh, I'll take this, this,
there's
this,
no
and
such
this.
thing as a regular style when you're famous. So they started building, you pretty much wear and do whatever you want. You can sing whatever you want, and somebody's going to listen because your dad's going to pay for the album. You don't have to work for anything, even a career.
That must be nice.
It must be nice.
I mean, but I don't know that I would really want to grow up that way. I mean, being a child and getting all this is great. But when you hit adulthood, don't you eventually realize, wow, I had no structure. I had no say, in what was going on. So now here I am, unable to cope in the real world.
I don't know because the problem is they'll never have to cope in the real world because they're always going to have the money to create their own world. But And whatever you grow up in, you tend to think is normal. So if you always ate dinner for breakfast and breakfast for dinner your whole life growing up, that's when you go live on your own, you're going to keep doing that. You're not going to think it's weird.
Right.
You're going to think it's life. That's just what people do. So the only way would be if they became friends or lived with people who had a more realistic upbringing and hung around different families. And then they might be like, oh,
I gotcha.
or yes, our house was a little weird.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I don't know. I just, I really feel bad for Will and the kids at this point. Uh, like I said, sometimes memoirs should be written and thrown in a fire.
Right.
So,
Or save it until you're dead.
yes, that way you don't have to defend yourself. But then,
That's right.
but then, of course, the controversy is going to be much worse than what it is while you're alive.
Right. But I mean, writing it is definitely about money and nothing else because you don't gain anything from it except for money.
Right, right,
So that just shows you're willing to throw your family under the bus for money, including your mom, who you put in the public eye by having her co host a show with you.
right,
And so now everybody knows who she is. Because if she had released it and not put her mom in the show, nobody would have recognized or known what her mom looks like. Nobody
right.
would have known.
And
But
now,
you put her in the public eye and then you rat her out for every wrongdoing she's ever
right.
done.
So now, when she goes to walk down that street, because we all know she's stuck living the normal life, people are
Right.
going to be like, oh, I know who you are. And her life's going to
Now,
be hell.
right. And I'm sure she lives in a nice neighborhood now. Don't get me wrong. They're not leaving her in the ghetto. She's living in a nice neighborhood now. So now when she's going out for her morning walk with her little poodles, because that's just what I pictured, the neighbors are going to be side eyeing.
Right. What kind of mother were you? Why were you this? Why did you that? They're not going to look at the new person. They're just going to focus on what she's bringing out now.
They're going to look at it as you don't belong here.
Right. And, a lot of times your past really belongs in your past.
Mhm.
So,
I'm just really surprised too that knowing the world she knew, she would throw her mom under that bus after bringing her up into the world she's in because I'm sure her mom already slightly felt like she didn't fit in.
right.
Because if you do go from living that life to hanging around people who have more money and more education and you know just different things that you didn't have, you're already going to feel a little awkward, and it probably took her some time to adjust and to find her place. Well, now you just knocked her back down.
Right. So, after you knock somebody down after they work so hard, why would they want to keep trying? If I was her mom, honestly, I think I would lock the door and tell them never come back. Don't even knock
I
on my door.
I mean, I know she's got to be appreciative of the stuff her daughter did for her, but to me, that would feel like a slap and a knock right back down. Like
Right.
you built me all the way up here just to slap me right back down. Unless I said, hey, mom, I'm going to tell all this stuff. So I'm going to give you X amount of money out of this book sales because I made you look horrible. Not made her look. I mean, it was her mom's own choices in her mom's life. So,
Right.
and we don't know that her mom's not proud of where she came from. Maybe she is. I don't
Sometimes,
know.
sometimes where you came from ends up making you who you are today, and it doesn't
Abs-
have to be bad.
Absolutely.
There's
And
there's a lot of
none
people
of
that
us
come from
know
very
that.
good homes that turn bad. So
Oh, heck yeah. Rich kids do drugs all the time. They just get away with it.
correct.
They're stealing mommy and daddy's pills. They're buying the good stuff because they've got money that normal kids don't have, so why not?
Right. Actually, Nina, for those of you that don't know, I do call her Nina. We're running out of time on this one, but that is definitely something we could discuss next week if that's on your mind.
Sure.
And just so everybody knows, I have asked Angelina to co-host with me. It's kind of funny because she's in Virginia, but yet we managed to pull this off. She's going to be on as often as she can, but she is raising my grandchildren, and that's a job in itself. Which, by the way, today is National Grandson Day, so Devlin, Maddox, and Caden, I hope you know how much Grandma loves you. We have a lot of changes to make on here. We do have a comedy act coming up within the next couple of weeks, I think. We just got to get it set up for sure. What was that?
I can't contain it. Tell them that you might do an act.
Uh, honestly, I didn't know if I was going to do it on here or not because I don't know. I have to think about it.
Wait, so you're doing a comedy act on here?
No, I will have comedy on here. I don't know if I'm going to be the comedy.
I didn't know you were going to have comedy on your podcast.
Yes, there's actually a young man. Well, he's not young. He's my age. An old friend of mine who has started up. It's called Ward's Laugh Factory. And he gets some really good comics up there. So I think it's him and his son are going to join us. We just have to set a definite date. I'll be honest. I'm going to ask them to keep it as clean as they can, but it is adult content. I'm not real sure how this is going to work, so you know.
I think you'll be all right. I don't think you have adult kids listening to your show.
Well, I know, but I don't know.
I think a disclaimer is good. Don't get me wrong. I think
Right.
you should definitely give people the choice, but
Right.
and you're good to go.
So the Bonnie show actually came from Angelina. She was being a smart aleck one day and said that, and I was like, where were you when I was naming my podcast? And then I got to thinking about it. I think as time goes on, my viewers were building. Of course, I haven't been on as much lately. Summer has really kept me busy. But instead of just focusing on crime, I thought we would do some real talk and cover some real situations that go on in this world. I do ask everybody to pray for what's going on in Israel. That is horrible, and it's chilling. And to think that we might have played into that. So that, please think about them. And we have a lot of Americans over there that are dying as well. But we want to bring some real talk to you anyway. And the nice thing about Angelina being on is she's free to speak her mind. And that's what she does.
Nobody has ever described me as that.
Well,
I'm kidding.
I was going to say, because it's like, if it comes to mind, it comes out. And the total honesty behind it is just amazing. Can she say some hurtful things once in a while? Maybe. But if you think about it, it's not meant to hurt you. It just makes you think. So, for me, it works out.
I'm just trying to help.
Right. In your own little way.
Someone taught me an important lesson, so I tried to be better about it. He said, just because it's true doesn't mean you have to say it.
I have heard that quite often in my lifetime, yes. Sometimes you can't prevent it. It has to come out. I get that. So hopefully she could join us again next week. Like I said, I have a couple comedy guys coming in to give you some entertainment. Of course, as you can see, the website needs updated now that we've changed the name and everything. But start inviting people. And like I said, Angelina's in Virginia and I'm in Ohio and she's on here. If you would like to be on here and discuss things, I can add more people. I can still have Angelina and then have Joe Schmo over here and whoever else wants to join.
Joe Schmo.
Well, it's better than putting somebody out there that,
Mm-hmm.
But we could definitely make it all work. And I'm looking forward to what we have coming. Like I said, remember the Shirt Shack that's owned by Dave Jones and the mugs out in Jefferson. God, if it weren't a trip for me, I might even go to Mugs right now. Although I probably wouldn't get anything done after I ate all that food.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you for joining us, Nina. And like I said, hope you're back again next week. I'm not real sure what next week's topic is going to be as of yet. That's something we toss around. I thought about discussing what's going on in Israel, and that's why I do have politics on here. I'm not big on discussing politics with people that have to argue their point. So please, when anything we discuss politically, come at everybody with respect. Everybody has their own opinion. We do have what's going to be a big election coming up because we know Donald Trump's running again. Is that correct?
That's correct as far as I know.
Okay. Well, I know for a little while he was kind of teetering, Will Biden run again? I don't know.
know how to sign his name onto the paper.
There's definitely concerns about the man, and personally, you need to take care of your health before you try to take care of your United States. That's all I'm going to say on that one.
Mhm.
I don't. I'm not even sure who's running independent yet, but this is all things that we could talk about and hopefully do it as adults.
I
And
won't be on for those ones, but
no, honestly, come on, and just did you say
uh-uh.
uh?
I'm not good at that because to me, elections are just whoever lies best wins because all it is they're saying all the trigger words they know we want to hear, whether you're Democrats know their certain words and Republicans know their certain, and then they get it and they don't do any of it because it's just about saying what you want to hear, so you pick them.
That is very true.
It's just
Very, very
tough.
true. I don't know. We'll work something out, and or text or message us, email us. Or, yeah, you can even email Angelina if you know her, and she'll pass it on to me, and we'll definitely get some things going here and have a good time on this show. So I am looking forward to seeing you all next Saturday at 10 o'clock. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I hope Will doesn't smack anybody in the near future. I hope Jada finds herself and what she's looking for because I'm just amazed at this book. If you want to buy it, it's on Amazon. There's different ways to buy it. Personally, I wouldn't waste my money. So,
Donate to domestic abuse instead.
right, yes, domestic abuse, yes, or animals, anything. But
Dogs.
on that note, we're out for today, and sometime during the week we'll let you know what next week's subject will be. So have a good day, everybody. Bye.